Misfit Mission Collectibles, open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Saturday and Sunday inside the Malby Flea Market, 421 Malby Avenue East, Winnipeg, Manitoba. If you can't shop in person, you can shop online at www.misfitmission.ca. Use code STARDOM and save 10% now. That's code STARDOM, all in capitals, and save 10% off your order.
You'll see a lot of guys go out there and do what they love to do, and hopefully that transfers to the crowd, and they have as much fun or more than what we do.
You're gonna see a little bit of this and that. You're gonna see, some bad guys that are jawing with the crowd. You're gonna see some athletes that can do some high flying, some flips. You're gonna see some hard hitting, right?
We do it because we love it. You love going out there and having a good time, and like I said, doing your best, making sure everybody else has as much fun as you do, and yeah, just keep on keeping on. The idea came from Rob. And his moniker is really crazy Rob Stardom, and it fits him like a glove. We've been doing this now for 4 years. This is our 4th year anniversary. This shows the 4 shows for this weekend.
Small town boy, we didn't get a lot of events coming through our town growing up, which sucked. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna start offering entertainment to these small towns. Give the kids something that I missed growing up. And I get to play around, right? Train some young guys in wrestling, which I love to do. See how I'm turning my head? Oh, yeah.
I started wrestling back in 2004. I was trained by Rob Stardom. Wrestling is always something that I always wanted to do, but never thought I could do until I moved to Winnipeg. And then I realized, hey, there's independent scene here. There's wrestlers that get trained in Winnipeg. Not something I knew I could do back home.
I've trained a lot of the wrestlers here and in the territory. And that's what I really get a lot out of. And it's like a father or a coach. If you're in a match and it's up and you haven't seen me, you're doing something wrong. I always make jokes that they're my kids, but really they are, because not only I talk to them about wrestling, personal life, mentorship about this isn't gonna take you that far, or if it is, go for it.
At my stage, I work a lot with the younger guys and try and teach them the way I was taught, and try and bring them along to, get to a stage, where a lot of us get to, and sometimes a lot of these guys go up and above and beyond.
Me and Rob look over the supervision of the ring being set up.
We set up the ring, it takes about an hour and a half depending, but we're not only setting up the ring, we're setting up the canteen, we're making a makeshift dressing room in half the places we're going. It's a long process for little return and putting our bodies at risk. I'm pushing 50-50. I'm worried about what's going on at the canteen. I'm worried about the door. I'm worried about before the show posters. I'm worried about you name it. Then I get to the show and I don't even think about my match because I'm worried about every match on the card, how long the guys are gonna go, what their finish is gonna be, what angle they're going into, right? And all that kind of stuff. So it's entertaining.
Once it's bell time though, once the people start getting into the building, the stress kind of leaves because you start shifting your mindset to worrying about what's going to happen that night in the ring. Usually you can get all the stresses out in your match itself.
We're all brothers. We all obviously love wrestling, so we have a lot in common, right? Nobody's making a lot of money here, so we're out here busting our ass for the people, for our own private fun time, right? So we have lots in common. It's a family.
This is your wake-up call!
We all kind of have different character flaws or kind of nuances that I guess make us a kind of our own breed, but there's definitely that camaraderie, and we all love professional wrestling, and we've been doing shows now together. Many of us have known each other for up to 10 years or more for the guys who have been around longer. A lot of guys in this locker room I have known since the first day I started.
It's totally like a brotherhood. And you know, it's not, I shouldn't say that, it almost sounds sexist, right? It's a brotherhood and a sisterhood, a familyhood. Because, you know, it's like birds of a feather, right? You get all these people together that have that same common interest. You go out and you develop your own character. That's the beauty of independent wrestling, is that really you have complete artistic license. You know, you have some parameters depending on your crowd. Other than that, that's it. You can go out there and be whoever or whatever you want to be. It just makes it that much more interesting.
I think the entertainer part is more important. That's all about having charisma and just being able to relate to the crowd. Either they like you or they hate you. That's definitely more important than the physical part, because you can get away without the physical sometimes. There's been wrestlers in the past that weren't particularly talented or physically coordinated that attracted big crowds and made a lot of money. And you could look at him and say, well, he's not a very good wrestler, but you still paid $50 to go see him, so he's doing something right.
Well, there's some great wrestlers that are entertainers, as in Hulk Hogan, or there's some great wrestlers that are athletes, right? So Ric Flair, entertainer and a wrestler, but you want the best of both worlds, right? You want to be both.
I love entertaining people. I've done a lot of different things over the years. Done some movies and stuff like that, and it's just never the same.
If you're hitting me in the gut, just right, I'll grab it.
Sometimes there's method to the madness. You try to do it so things arc from one show to the other. If you beat somebody, let's say that's considered a top title contender, then from a storyline perspective, you're in line for a title shot, and then you move on to that next step, so you can do that over several course of different shows. Some things happen naturally. A storyline will happen naturally, where there's just a match just happened to be really good or better than was expected, so you kind of want to keep that momentum going, so you pair those two up for a series of shows.
We try to have some fun storylines. We are family friendly. You don't see swearing, you don't see nudity, you don't see any sexual innuendo. We do also run a bar show once in a while. I won't tell you that, I'll be honest, we can go that way as well, right? That's for an adult only crowd. I'll put it this way, you'll see the violence escalate at the end of a big feud, right? Or if there's something at stake, like the ladder match today, the winner gets a shot at the provincial title tomorrow, right? So it means something. It's not, we just throw a bunch of guys out there with some chairs and some guns and knives. No, that's some build-up after a little bit of story.
You try to keep it as much towards a legitimate combat sport as possible. The whole show is based off that premise, but then of course we can do things a little bit crazier than they can with all the storylines. There's a little bit more creative freedom there.
How long do you intend on keeping this up?
My wife asks me that all the time. To me, it's like, you know, at this stage of the game, it's like my rec hockey, you know? We don't make it or we don't do it because we get rich doing it. We don't, you know what I mean? Like we do it because we love it. And if you don't, you can't.
I could never retire, right? I could do this forever. One of my very close friends, he's doing this forever. He's a lot older than me, but maybe 5 years.
Well, I think when I started out, it was like everybody else. You know, you're like, oh man, I want to be the world champion at WrestleMania or something. But After finishing my training, I realized that's probably maybe not something that I was necessarily going for anymore, because I still wanted maybe just a normal life.
Like I said, I love it, and it's really so much a part of, you know, my everyday life. You know, we all have that job that we go to and stuff, but it's just kind of your job is just kind of what you do to support your wrestling habit.
If you're not a wrestling fan, you're still gonna like it because you tell me any place you can go and you can yell at a bad guy. You can't go to a movie and interact with that movie, right? So it's a lot of fun, it's a stress reliever. You take the kids, right? It's a good time.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
For all your sports memorabilia needs, welcome to First Row.
Like we always do about this time.
FirstRow.ca, Canada's online collectible store. Sports cards, we got them. NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL. Autographs, action figures, comic books, and wrestling collectibles. If you're a collector, we got what you need. Remember the name, FirstRow.ca, Canada's online collectible store.